Well, hello everyone, and welcome to East West Healing Space. I took a little time off of last week because I was more than overwhelmed. I was on overwhelm, and a lot of people have been telling me that they've been overwhelmed and completely unable to deal. And I don't know, maybe I caught it from them. I tend to be a pretty positive person, pretty upbeat, but I'm being tested, shall we say. And I think we all are. So today I am going to do a reading, and let's see what the I Ching has to tell us about what the message is for today. And I'm not going to be more specific than that because the I Ching has its own wisdom. And I find over the years that if I am very specific in my question, which I have been in the past, sometimes the message doesn't seem to make any sense. And surely the I Ching must be wrong. So I throw the I Ching again, and I ask the same question again. And I may get a different hexagram, and it still doesn't make any sense. So I ask the same question again. I don't know if any of you have ever done that. Post a message in the comments if that's ever come up for you. But after about 3 times, and I've done this more than once in my life, I have to admit, inevitably I get the message, youthful folly. And basically, the basic message of youthful folly is, I've already answered your question, stop asking. The I Ching always knows. So I feel it's better to be a bit more general in the question and to ask, what is it that we need to know for today? What's our message for today? And I'm going to open this up and put this down. And today would be 3/24/25. And what do we have? We have a tail. A tail. It's a 3-tail kind of day. That would be a yin line, which is a 6. Remember, tails are worth 2 and heads are worth 3. So we start out with a yin line and a changing line. And what is it that we need to know for today? We have a tail. We have a tail. We have a tail. Oh, 2 yin lines stacking up. 2 changing lines. Not all yin lines are changing lines, but what do we need to know for today? Okay, a tail. A tail. Woohoo! A head. Yay! So that's a yang line. That's a 7. And it's not a changing yang line. Even lines are yin. Odd numbers are yang. 7 and 9 are yang. And 6 and 8 are yin. What do we need to know for today? What's our message for today? We have a head, a tail, a head. Okay, 2 heads and a tail. It's another yin line, but this one doesn't change. And what is it that we need to know for today? What's our message? What's our message for today? Yes. we have a head, a head, a tail, another 8. Lots of yin lines in this. This is the lower trigram, okay? And this upper trigram is starting out the same way, 2 yin lines. Let's see how it ends up. What do we need to know today? A head, a tail, a tail. Okay. And that's a 7. It is a double hexagram. In other words, the lower and the upper trigrams are the same. 2 broken lines and a solid line, 2 broken lines and a solid line. The only difference is this changes to this, where you have 3 solid lines, and then this top one remains the same, 2 broken lines and a solid one. One of the only 2 trigrams that I have memorized is this one, Chin, the creative, heaven. Okay, so let's go to the back of the book. And we have Ken on the bottom and Ken on the top. Ken is everywhere, and that's 52. 52. And 52 changes into Chin on the bottom and Ken on the top, and that's 26. Okay, let's just take a look and see what Mama Ching has to say about these 2. First is 52. Oh, I thought I had opened right to it. I thought, wow. Okay, 55, whoops. 53, 50. Come on, sugar. 52, Ken, keeping still, the mountain. Yes. Whoops, there you go. I hope you can see it. It's the double trigram, the mountain, the youngest son of heaven and earth. And it's, as I said, a double one. Below and above is keeping still the mountain. And we'll get into what that means when I finish the rest of this. The judgment, the image, the lines, and then the second hexagram. So the judgment, keeping still, keeping his back still so that he no longer feels his body. He goes into his courtyard and does not see his people. No blame. Interesting. And then here comes the image. Mountains standing close together. I wish I could, there you go, that's a little better. The image of keeping still. Thus, the superior man, what does the superior man do other than keep still? Does not permit his thoughts to go beyond his situation. Oh, yes. Isn't it easy to spiral into our thoughts and have them take over and create an entire world, which isn't exactly what the one that exists, is it? Okay, 2 lines we read. 6 at the beginning means keeping his toes still, no blame. Continued perseverance furthers. And 6 in the second place means keeping his calves still. He cannot rescue him whom he follows. His heart is not glad. Okay, that's a pretty sad one. And then that turns into 26, 26, 26, hello, 28, 26. Oh, I was wondering if I would get this. Yes, the corners of the mouth, nourishment, providing nourishment. Keeping still is still on top, but down below we have the arousing thunder, which means movement. It's interesting. We have movement down below and keeping still up above. Okay? This hexagram is a picture of an open mouth, and you can see that here. The central lines are all yin, and therefore it is open. Okay? Above and below are the firm lines of the lips, and in between them, the opening. Okay. All right. Starting with the mouth, through which we take food for nourishment, the thought leads to nourishment itself. Nourishment of oneself, specifically of the body, is represented in the 3 lower lines, while the 3 upper lines represent nourishment and care of others in a higher spiritual sense. Yeah. Inshallah, we get there someday. Okay, the judgment. The corners of the mouth. The corners of the mouth, perseverance brings good fortune, paid heed to the providing of nourishment, and to what a man seeks to fill his own mouth with. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, the wisdom of the I Ching. I love it. Okay, the image. At the foot of the mountain, thunder, the image of providing nourishment. Thus the superior man is careful of his words and temperate in eating and drinking. Okay, let's talk about this one, shall we? Okay, so keeping still, all right? Basically, the idea of keeping still, and this is something that is not easy to do in difficult times. It's a serious spiritual practice. But what we're being called upon now is to stop. Just stop. Take a breath. Drop in to the silence within. Keep still. There's a time to move and a time to keep still. Right now, and the I Ching does not talk about, oh, this month, this week, this year. No, the I Ching talks about this moment, basically. And sometimes you can ask about it for the day, but I don't think it knows what a day is. So whatever it is for you that you're asking about, in this moment, this is the moment to just stop. Stop. And when it says that keeping his back still so that he no longer feels his body, basically what they're talking about, I mean, the way I'm reading it is, to me, when you stop like that and you keep your back still, it is a form of meditation. And I once heard Thich Nhat Hanh being interviewed, and I think it was Oprah Winfrey who was interviewing him, and she asked, how often do you meditate, or how long do you meditate? And he paused for a moment and he looked at her and he said, well, I'm doing it right now. So that kind of keeping still, so that you're not aware of I am. There is no I am when you're in a meditative state, when you've stopped the noise, when you've stopped the outside world from invading, and you're just being here now in this, and just being and not doing, okay? Then you're not necessarily aware of your body. You're not aware of you're aware of it all, but it has no meaning. It's just there. It just is. Okay? So this is a time to stop. To stop, to drop into the silence, to drop into the present moment. And there will come a time when it's the right time to move. You know, that always happens. Things don't stand still forever. So when he doesn't see his people, it's because he has dropped into I am, not the I, well, yeah, you could say I am, but not I am so-and-so, or I am angry, or I am hurt, or I am anything. It's just the I am. And eventually the I drops out, and it's just am. Okay? So then we have the lines. And the lines, the image, the mountains standing close together. Mountains are there is no movement in a mountain, at least none that we can see. And so we have two mountains here, and they're next to each other, but none of them are moving because it's not the time. So it's the time to restrict yourself in what you do and what you say. Think about your words before you speak them. The image, the lines, 6 at the beginning, keeping his toes still. I love that. No blame. Basically, the toes, every time I've meditated with a teacher, they always start with the toes. And that is, the feet are basically where we connect with the earth. And that is being grounded, being part of this earth. Okay. Continued perseverance further. And by keeping your toes still, you're in accordance with the time because you're not moving, okay? You're not walking. Then there's 6 in the second place, keeping his calves still. He cannot rescue him who he follows. And that would be if you're following somebody who's not paying attention to you, there's no rescuing. So you're not going to be worried about that person in front of you, the person you're following, because this is the time to stop. The stop. And it's sad because if you're following somebody, you want that person to be in the same mindset that you are, but they may not be. They may not be. Okay, that is 52. Now let's take a look at 26. Well, here I am with a little bit of egg on my face. 26 is the taming power of the great, not the corners of the mouth, not nourishment. Okay, Tony did it again. We're all subject to mistakes. Here we go. The taming power of the great. Above we have keeping still the mountain, and below the creative heaven. I should have caught this one, shouldn't I? Oh well, it's a little bit early in the day here. The creative is tamed by Ken, keeping still. This produces great power, a situation in contrast to that of the 9th hexagram, Xiao Chu, the taming power of the small. Okay, in which the creative is tamed by the gentle alone. There, one weak line must tame five strong lines, but here, 4 strong lines are restrained by 2 weak lines. I'm not going to go into all of that. The judgment. Taming power of the great, perseverance furthers, not eating at home brings good fortune. Well, I had lunch out today, which is unusual. It furthers one to cross the great water. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Okay, and the image. Heaven within the mountain, the image of the taming power of the great. Thus the superior man acquaints himself with many sayings of antiquity and many deeds of the past in order to strengthen his character thereby. Okay, let's talk about the taming power of the great. Whoa, okay. All right. The taming power of the great, perseverance furthers, not eating at home brings good fortune. It furthers one to cross the great water. Well, to me, not eating at home bringing good fortune would mean allowing other people to nourish you. And so furthering one to cross the great water. And this is a theme that comes up over and over in the I Ching. And so when you cross the great water, it means you're undertaking something that can be dangerous, because back in the day, crossing the great water was not necessarily safe. But this is saying that it furthers one to do that. So it can be dangerous, but the goal is worthy. So you go ahead and you do it. So you go from, keeping still to having some movement. The taming power of the great. And this idea of the superior man acquaints himself with many sayings of antiquity and many deeds of the past in order to strengthen his character thereby. And that is something that is universal, ancient, modern, and probably futuristic too, which is to say that we are connected emotionally and spiritually to our past. Some of the great novels that have ever been written, one of the characters in the novel will be the place itself, the land, the people who have lived on the land. And so when you acquaint yourself with many sayings of antiquity, you're basically, it could be in a cultural sense, in the place where you are, and it can also be in a religious perspective, the sayings of antiquity. Some people call it verses of the Bible. Other people call it the Akashic Records. I mean, it just depends on how you tune in, whatever door you choose to walk through. That's the sayings and deeds of the past in order to strengthen your character. In other words, no man is an island, okay? We are connected, and we're connected to our past, we're connected to our communities, and when you tune in, you're connected to the divine. So, that is today's reading. I'm kind of encouraged by this. This is good. I don't know about you, but I needed a little encouragement, and this is giving it to me. I hope this feels good to you. I hope you hit that subscribe button, that like button, make a comment. Please hit the like button. All of these things help to grow the channel, and that will help other people. You're not just helping me, you're helping other people. So, be the superior man / woman, he, she, they, them, whatever. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.